Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Jam and Cheese Show. Cheese, the Roosters are still alive, my friend. You are playing finals football.
It is good. It is good. You didn't think we were going to make it. I'll let you slide on that one. But yeah, it's awesome. We're finally starting to play a good brand of footy based on our defence and not so much our attack needs a little work, but defensively, I think Robbo and our whole team's happy with each other. So
yeah, you could see the level of care and desperation in the Roosters' defence.
Yeah.
There was a set of six there where I thought Souths were going to break it, and when they started to come home a little bit, and you guys just had enough resolve to turn them away, keep turning up for each other.
Because that's the starting 20 minutes of that second half, we were up against the battle, man. We just couldn't complete a set, couldn't get out of our own end. We're just, it was tough, but we got through it in the end, so laughing.
And week one of the finals play Sharks at Shark Park.
At a mighty 12,000 pack stadium.
I don't know. They've got to do something about that. Look, I get the fact that you earn the home ground advantage, but there's going to be more fans not be able to go than go.
Yeah.
That legitimately would have gone.
Yeah. Why is this stadium so small?
I don't know if they're redeveloping it or that's just just the sort of that boutique
Take it to
style.
Allianz, I reckon.
Well, someone said yesterday have it at Allianz, but have tickets on sale for Sharks members only today.
Yeah.
So that way Sharks can take it, their fans can make it a real home ground. Yeah. I know obviously it's your technical home ground, but in a stadium like that, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. Look, it's going to be packed out. It's going to be a great game. You just wish it was in front of more fans.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good game on the weekend. It was a big crowd, mostly bunnies. But yeah,
good to get one over. The rivalry, like the arch rivals, there wasn't that much feeling in the game, but it must have been.
I think they learnt their lesson from last time with the whole 7 Simbins, and a lot of the stars weren't playing. So obviously we had Daniel Tupou go down as well. That was pretty annoying. But
is he going to be right? I heard Robinson in the press conference after, he's like, no.
No. I think...
What was that, a training ground injury?
Yeah, just jumped up for a ball.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah. I think he jumped up for a ball and then made contact with another person. And then, but yeah. It's crazy the amount of emphasis we didn't put on who was missing this week was awesome, and just sort of going out on the field and just not even worrying about who's not there, but worrying about who's there. And Junior Punga was probably put our best on ground. So it was good to see the boys step up and go when we, obviously missing Jared and Daniel.
Yeah, it was a great finish from Junior Punga. He was...
Yeah.
He was good.
I thought he lost it.
Well, everyone did, yeah.
When I was on the field.
Did you see the way the ball came up? It's he's obviously bounced it.
It just looked like, but
yeah, good on. It was a fair finish. And then I thought all your middle forwards really held the fort down well. May off the bench, Butcher starting. I
think May's Robbo's new son. The way he speaks about him now, he loves him.
Mate, you all did really. Sam Walker as well, a great example of a young person in any walk of life just not getting exactly what they think is going to be right, or it's always just this red carpet treatment all the way to your career's this day, we're just gonna keep going on this trajectory up. It's no, you're gonna face adversity. You're going to get dropped. You're going to get injured. And when you're just about to come back and It's not fair at times.
He's a funny little bugger, old Sam. Did you see him in the little scuffle at the end when he was running away? Apparently he was going, enjoy Mad Monday, enjoy Mad Monday, while he was running away from Cody Walker.
Oh, good. Matt, it's not just been all rugby league in the life of Cheese, though, at the moment. You're...
NFL, fantasy, yep.
With a couple of NRL journalists as well.
Yeah, I know.
Who's in this?
I think Webby's in there. Andrew Webster. Is it Andrew?
Yeah.
And Brent Reed, who's pretty funny. But yeah, we got to be careful in the group chats. Yeah.
Who else is participating? Is it a number of NRL players as well?
Ben Hunt, also known as Jonathan Taylor, for anyone that knows what that means. Christian Walsh, Daly Cherry Evans. There's some few heavy hitters in there.
And it's you do like a proper draft, or it's just
yeah, you do a draft over there's like 8-hour picks. And that's why it was pretty funny, because apparently Daly Cherry Evans had a pick at halftime.
Oh.
That's what all sources are saying, but I don't know.
Well, you're not allowed on your phone. So
no, I don't think he actually did. I think
it would have been. The problem would have been automatic, because if you're on the clock, don't you just go to you have your list already?
Yeah, there's like a auto pick sort of thing, but if you haven't like queued up players, then your auto pick is just whatever the computer picks for you. But there's been a lot of discussion around Brent Reed, because he's the commissioner, so he created it. He makes the rules, and he's changed a few rules like already without really consulting anyone. So we're kind of comparing him to a more dictatorship than a commissioner, similar to Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-Reed.
Adolf. Yes,
is he not? That's disappointing from Reedy. I'm seeing him later today, actually, so I'll be sure to bring that up. But it's good to see some of the boys interacting with the journalists.
Yeah.
So it might be interesting to see if Reedy or Webster writes any bad stories.
It's pretty funny in the they have like a WhatsApp now, and everyone just talks shit. I think Walshy got Ben Hunt pretty bad. It's pretty funny.
Nice. All right. Well, the finals are set for week 1. Broncos v the Storm. First game. Like this, what a game to kick off the final series.
Yep.
It should be for me. It's the pick of the games. Obviously, the winner will play the following week, but I've just got so much interest in what's happening up there at Brisbane at the moment, and they're riding this wave. And they've been amazing so far this season. But now it's that next test. The test was Origin, how they'd come out of Origin.
Yep.
They survived that, they passed that test with flying colours, and now it's the finals on the line with the ingredient of that extra pressure. And I don't think for Brisbane that they could have a worse opponent.
Yeah, well, I saw the statistic. It was like 13 straight they've lost against Melbourne. I never lost to Brisbane in a Melbourne outfit. So it's a tough one. Craig definitely knows how to play them, but I think this Broncos side is a different Broncos side that we haven't really seen in the last 5 to 6 years. And I think they can give this competition a real nudge.
Yeah, I do. I think with obviously they don't have that much finals experience. They've got Reynolds, Capewell, and then Corey Oates if he plays. But there's a lot of big game players that have played Origin.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They've got big game experience.
Yeah.
So they know what to do in front of a packed crowd.
Yeah. It's interesting as well with playing against the Melbourne Storm. They have that head on a plate. They have that plan for the superstars, and they'll have a plan for Reece Walsh. And I think it's really interesting that Billy Slater was his Queensland coach to get the best out of him.
Yeah.
Obviously knows his game inside out. He works also for the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah.
So like the tactics now is how to negate the Queensland's best player that happens to play for the Broncos in a club game.
Yeah, I don't imagine Billy's walking in going, boys, we're fucked. Reece is going to kill us. But Yeah, it's that's a pretty interesting look on it actually.
They're gonna have to give him
But
extra
I think
attention. I know they never say this publicly, but I think Reece Walsh has such an impact on a game and is so influential. You're not going to be able to shut it down completely, but you've got to make life hell for him. You got to get after him physically, and he'll stand up to that. Like we saw Joseph Tarpany put that shot on him, and he just gets up and laugh, or he'll find another way. But you've got to make it as difficult as possible for Reece Walsh because he's just in the most amazing touch right now.
Yeah, and I think the first way you do that is pretty much negating their forward pack, because their forward pack gets them a lot of momentum, and they're full of stars. So I think that's where Melbourne, like players like Christian Walsh, are going to have to step up and be physically present, try slow them down. But they've got a crazy forward pack: Flegler, Haas, Paddy Carrigan, and then off the back of that, that's where all the momentum started.
They're hard to play against because they pass the ball as well.
Yeah, and they offload all the time.
Yeah, really difficult team to contain.
Yeah.
Like you've got to swarm them, and you've got to be fit as anything to keep going with them because of like I say, the amount of ball movement. But it should be a great start to the final series. Saturday then at 4:00. Strangely, Panthers play the Warriors. Great for everybody watching over the ditch in New Zealand.
That's
like
up the wires.
Up the wires. Who was the basketball coach?
Steve Kerr.
Yeah, like
mate, you know your telephone.
I know my telephone.
Yeah, so you know how you got the reception bar.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're with Vodafone, they're sponsored. They're the One Warriors, but they're the Vodafone major sponsor. It on your phone it says up the wires.
Really?
Yeah. My sister's got it.
How good's that?
So like every day you wake up, you see up the wires.
How good's that? Like they're just tapping into that.
Yeah. They've even made the politics.
Like
someone said it in one of the Parliament houses. Up the wires.
Well, New Zealand's politics. I mean,
see, that's what happens if the country gets behind rugby league when they're going well. So
yeah, it is actually great to see. And like for me, the Warriors, we see teams come from nowhere. Like this isn't anything new to see a team come from nowhere, but usually when a team does, like people miss things, and it seems all right. Okay, I get it now because I probably didn't see that coming, but I didn't see that clue. But for me, the Warriors, they didn't have any clues coming into this season. And it's still a shock. It's like, well, how is Sean Johnson playing his best football? How is this unknown coach in Andrew Webster got this group to fire on all cylinders like they have? Like, how have they managed to stay in the top four?
It reminds me a lot of Penrith, eh? You know how Penrith just somehow come out of the blue and then they've just dominated the competition? Like, I think it was 2019, where they clicked into gear. I don't know if they made the finals or not, but then the following year they were just they were a force. So.
Like with the Warriors as well. Like there was no
major signing.
There's
either.
no superstar.
Yeah,
like there's no genuine like pin-up boy superstar. This is our go-to guy. Like they're playing well as a team. They're connected with one another, and they're connected with New Zealand as well, which makes them dangerous.
It does interest me where they're going to put Roger Tuivasa-Sheck next year. With Chance Nickel-Klogstad, he's probably one of their best players of the year.
His attitude since that signing has been phenomenal.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. He's
like, you could see why someone may kick stones, but mate,
instead of kicking stones, he may have kicked Roger into another spot, I reckon.
Senses, I don't know. It's a
good problem to have.
Yeah, great problem to have. But for this weekend, so difficult going up against the Penrith Panthers, who were just a class above.
Yeah,
Stephen Crichton knocking that ball back. Cleary just in great touch. I loved Cleary's Liam Martin, those big game players, their attitude on the weekend against the Cowboys, like I thought they may have been in a bit of we just need to get through this game, but they went after it.
Yeah, I really appreciated it.
I bet you did. I bet you did.
But yeah, their defense is just crazy.
Mm.
Another minor premiership, 3 in 4 years?
Something like that, yeah. I think I'm not going to write the Warriors off because I think they can come and do a job and do an ambush job. No Luai again. It'd be highly unlikely.
The last game they played was like 18-12 or something like that.
Yeah, it was close. So don't write off the Warriors, but Penrith should head into that game as pretty decent favourites. And you guys come up against the Sharks. Sharks got you last time you played.
Yeah.
Boys all feeling good and confident?
That's old news, man. That's the old Roosters. That's the old Roosters.
Well, it has been like 2 different teams this year.
Yeah. It was a weird little setup though. We didn't get our schedule till all the games finished because we didn't know when we were playing or when. So had a couple of days off. Been good.
Nice, feeling fresh.
Feeling fresh. It's weird. My body feels better this time of the year than it did any other time. Being injured and then at the start of the year just going through minor injuries. Now it's finally coming back, touch wood. Or timber. It's finally coming back and feeling good and looking forward to trying to dive deep into these finals.
I've got you as slight favourites against the Sharks. I really do.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Nothing against the Sharks.
Thank
I just
you, Jimmy.
think you guys are riding a wave at the minute, and I think it's probably the second closest game, because I think the game after, I think the Knights will be all over the Raiders.
Yeah, the Knights look good.
They'll be all over.
I reckon. I don't care if we see them, but I probably wouldn't want to see them in the finals. They're just on that little run.
Well, you can only play the Knights in the grand final.
Oh, that's when I want to see them. Good luck.
That is when you do.
That's when I want to see them.
Yeah. You can technically only play the Knights in the GF.
Perfect.
Mate, the round 27 wasn't without its talking points as well.
Yes, Jimmy, it wasn't. Would you care to explain on the Andrew Davey comments I watched on Instagram the other day? You don't have to if you don't want to, but
no. Well, it's true. So, look, I am involved at the club in an ambassador style role. I'm not there day to day, but I think it's important that if somebody criticizes the culture and the coach, that the truth comes out, and the reality of the situation is the Bulldogs are trying to lay foundations. It's a incredibly young football group, like it is young, so they're trying to lay foundations. They're trying to work things out there to build a pathway to success for the future.
Is he still there, Andrew Davey?
No, he left and went to Parramatta.
Good.
So they signed a number of players, and Davey was there, and he came thinking he was going to be in the 17 most weeks and possibly start. And I think, that whether or not that was the correct expectation to have, but, cultures get pulled apart and criticised, and I understand lads and how they react, and it's usually when you're not winning and you're not getting picked, and he wasn't getting picked, so I think he was a little bit bitter about what was going on at the club. I didn't see eye to eye with Cameron Serrado. He spoke about Cameron like that, and it's like, well, he didn't see eye to eye because he thought he was better than not playing, and he didn't get picked. So then, he gets contacted by a journalist, and he attacks the club and its culture. Well, the reality of it is Jacob Preston, an unknown 21-year-old, outworked him. and he got picked over him, and then that's when, as a player, you go, well, hang on, all of a sudden, like, this is no good. It's like, because I'm not getting picked. Well,
yeah. Well, it's tough because for something at that club to happen, it can't just be half the team buys into it, half the team doesn't. It's like a whole club thing when you're trying to turn a whole club around. When you're trying to build culture, it's the whole club has to be in on it together. And if you've got to wrestle the forward fucking forward pack. Like, it's not that hard.
And I think, yeah.
And it's just a bit grassy to me.
Yeah, like even with the incident that people have spoken about, with one of the players, they were late. The punishment was to wrestle X number of players. Well, look, as long as that's not personal, then you've got no problem with that. And working environments now, we've all got to be delicate, and it's like, oh, you can't do this, you can't. Well, in professional sport, you're gonna need to be weighed. You're gonna need to have your skin folds done.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to be on time, and if you don't, there's got to be different consequences for that. And different clubs run it where I've seen yourself with the bleached blonde hair. Some people have the dice roll, spin the wheel, whatever. There's a number of punishments, but as long as those punishments aren't personal, then
I think I've done everything on the dice roll.
Yeah, like you have to accept that.
Beach blonde hair. You have to pack up all the training gear after training for a week. You have to do 300 meter rows. Shave your hair.
Yeah, the
chili challenge.
Chili. Like,
I think I've done them all. That's not good. But I spoke to you about what happened to me when I was late recently. But like I found it funny, and it was embarrassing for me at the time. But it's just that's how it is.
Yeah,
and like I'm not criticizing him for it just because I don't agree with it. Like, that's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, and look, I don't claim to be this like person that was a goody two shoes with the coach or the staff. Like, I had my confrontations with staff at different times, but as a player, like, you live in a bubble, and you're like, you think that you're always right, and sometimes clubs do things by design to get a response from you, and I've been part of a flogging session, and I was fuming. We got ambushed, so I used to do my extra conditioning on a Monday, so I've done all that. Come in Tuesday thinking it's a down day. We all get punished, and I was livid. Like, I couldn't see but and this is quite embarrassing how I responded. We did like some 20, 40, 60s.
Yeah.
So it was like,
I love those.
Like, but it was a part of, like, it's called mutual suffering. I didn't agree with it. But instead of, like, not putting in, like, I've just gone after each and every one.
Like a bull in a China store.
My reaction was to go hard. Right, and one of the trainer, Tony Grimaldi, he's come up to me after that. He's like, mate, like, well done, mate. Like, that was awesome. That was really inspiring. Like, that's good leadership. That, and I was like, oh no, mate, I was actually going that hard because I was trying to pull a hammy. just to be like, you want to come after us, and this is what we're gonna do, and he just walked away shaking his head, and I'm not like,
that's the attitude,
like,
Jimmy.
Like, he was like, what do you mean? I was like, no, I wanted to send a message to you. If you want to mess with us, then this is what's going to happen. And like, but again, it's like, I don't necessarily know what's best for me. Like, I don't know what's necessarily best for the team.
Probably not the best.
No, but again, like, I was an emotional guy, and I could lose my head at the best of times. But that was my response. But again, I didn't know what was best for me.
I thought you were going to say, oh, no, I told him to fuck off.
But like, and these things happen with football in football clubs, and
no, I actually can think of moments where we've had extras, and I thought, man, I'd love to get injured here to really show these guys you can't just keep flogging us. Yeah. I've actually had that thought before.
Yeah, and like it's crazy the stuff that goes on. But like, the department there, the football staff are there to create the environment, and sometimes as well, like to get the best out of a playing group, you need someone to hate, and sometimes that has to be the staff. Like there's some staff members I've been with, and it's like
their goal is to make you pissed off.
Yeah, it's almost their job to be hated,
to break your try to break your spirit.
Yeah, and that can unite the playing group to be like.
It's like all those army camps. You definitely get put on show sometimes. And it's at Melbourne. They used to the older boys. They used to, if someone was late, it'd wake up next morning 6 a.m. You'd have to go down to St Kilda and jump off the pier. But the person that was late had to stay. But this was coach everything. So Adam O'Brien had to jump in the water and everything. And the guy that was late, he'd sit on the top and just watch everyone. Well, they're what do you call it when you're just trying to keep afloat?
Treading water.
Yeah, tread water. And the person that's late, so you didn't want to be late. No. You feel like you let everyone down, which is worse than...
That's even... and that's a psychological punishment. Like, that's like...
Yeah.
And again, like...
Could you imagine Cameron Smith treading water, looking up at me while I was late, or 6 a.m. in the freezing water in Melbourne? That would kill someone. You'd never be late again.
Yeah, and look, this is some of the weird and wonderful things that football clubs do. And, like... In most of the workplaces, it's like, oh, you could never do that. Like, you can't spin the wheel. Like,
but yeah, it'd be shit at the time. But Jesus, it's a funny story when you're when you're 45 in the pub telling everyone about it. It's funny.
It's one of them. Like it's like we look at peak performance and setting, like being a leader at a football club, like the coach or the head of performance, your job is to design the environment. But it's not all about peak performance necessarily. It's about exposing people to adversity and difficult times,
and how they grow and build in those difficult times.
Exactly. Like you've got to expose them to some adversity, even that, like the complaint of the extra long day. It's like go and ask the average person in the street if they think it's like, if it's hard to go to like training from 8 till 5, and they're not training from 8 till 5. There's a multitude of rests in there, and the last part of the day, the reason some are there till 5 is that's your last massage time. Because you know what it's like when you do, like, we'll do massage at the end of the day. Like there's 30 of you, there's only 8 therapists, so like you might get the 2 till 2:40 one. That's the first one. Bang, you're out of there by showering.
Well, we're done at 8. We're done at 8 today. The Roosters.
8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
There you go.
And we're like a few days we've been finishing at 7:30, but we start at like 10:30, then going. But that's been quite a talking point in the NFL fantasy chat, because Kyle Flanagan was taking so long to take his picks, and then everyone would just post, "Oh, sorry, Flano probably still at training. He'll probably take his pick at 6:30."
But like long days are par for the course, especially in off season.
Yeah, but you have long days, but you're 3 days a week, max.
Well,
or captain's run, you're in for an hour.
Yeah, and you can train.
It's a great life during the season, mate. Football.
It's a great life, full stop. And
pre-season can go give.
It's hard, mate.
but it's what stories.
What a way to live a life.
Yeah.
Like, and I know what it's like being a player in that bubble. Like, I was in the biggest bubble ever. I had no grasp of reality. And like, training so hard. I can remember, like, I'm in a group chat with my friends from school, and like, I'd been back home, got back here, and January I sent a picture in the training ground, being like, "Oh, first day back at work, in for the slog," and one of the lads wrote back. He goes, "Do you know I have to pay to use the gym?" And I just went, "Yeah." All right, fair enough. And I have to go after work. Like,
Yeah.
or before. Like, I have to find.
Yeah. It's a good life.
It's the best, and it is hard at times.
It's hard.
And it can send you on a like I say, like I think I reflect back on some of my actions and think, like, what was I doing? Because the environment can do that, but there's no better way. Like, to be an athlete, a professional, full-time, paid athlete. Some of the blokes on minimum wage, even, like, the life is amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's like Chris Lewis at the Melbourne Storm. Like, he's got a career. He's a teacher. He's been teaching for years, but he's like, why the fuck would I go boss around a bunch of kids when I could go run around and play footy with my mates for a living? He's on like a minimum wage, and he just signed it because he's like, mate, the lifestyle is way better than teaching. I've got my career. I don't need to find something after football. He's like, I just love living the lifestyle.
There you go. There's got to be a little bit of appreciation. And look, I get what it's like when you're losing and you're not winning. It can suck. But really, what's the alternative? Because you ain't going to trade it in. And if you want to, you always can. You always can. Some other round 27 things. Oh, poor Jake Avarillo. It looks as if he's...
Oh, what did he do?
Oh, mate, he was
I saw him hobble off.
Yeah, it didn't look good. It looked like medial. Sorry, not medial. It looked like ACL, which is the bad one. And it was one of those nothing doing. He's got about 20 minutes left of the season.
Yeah. It's over the sideline. Like,
yeah.
Nah, that's not good news for the
If I'm
Dolphins.
being hypercritical, he should have went down on the field and then the game could have been stopped.
Yeah, because
he went off the field.
And then they scored the next set.
The game didn't get stopped. Maybe that's something the NRL need to look at, but gutting news for Avarillo. He's been one of the Dogs' best, in my opinion, this season. Sorry to see him leave and go to pastures new, but the Dolphins there, it's unfortunate for that young man. And again, it goes into some of the adversity that people face.
Yeah.
Come out the other end stronger. And thoughts are with him. Other than that, what else is going on? Cowboys didn't look up for the do or die clash, in my opinion. Compare them to...
It's tough coming up against a team
It is.
Penrith coming up on just losing. They've got the minor premiership under their nose. Like, it was always going to be a tough ask.
To be fair, though, I thought there was a couple of tries that the Panthers scored, and if the Cowboys had that same level of desperation that you guys did, I don't think they get over. Like, there was a Toto one, a Taruva one, and even the Cleary one was like...
Toto made that look so easy.
I know, and like, weird. He should be getting stopped. I know he's a fantastic finisher, but I guarantee in that same situation, he doesn't score that against the Warriors this week. Or certainly, like, in the context of the game, if the game's tight and in the balance, then there's no way he's scoring that. Tigers, they finished pretty poorly as well. It's a big job for Benji next year. Calls for the CEO to be ousted. Look, he's been there for a long time. Oversaw a lot of underperformance, but Benji's got a massive job.
Yeah. I don't think we're Benji fans at the moment. After what he said about Jared, so
what did he say about Jared?
I don't know. He just went off at him about that tackle. I don't think we love him at the moment.
All right, fair enough. Sebastian Chris as well. What was he thinking? He got sent.
Oh, did he get sent?
Yeah, he got sent.
I was gonna say because that game was very tight.
Yeah, he got sent off. So he'll I think that just goes to that point.
It's automatic 4.
Yeah.
That's what you face.
I mean, he'll look to fight it, but I don't know. I just don't know how the Raiders fight that and get off. Obviously, Ricky Stewart will have his say, but it just makes that life even more difficult for them. All right, well, cheese. I reckon it's probably...
Yeah, we had a good old long chat after the Davey comments.
Yeah, we segued there. I think it's time for this now.
Fan feelings. Nothing more than How do you feel?
Yes, big thank you to Tooheys for partnering with us on this section. How do you feel? I feel like a Tooheys.
Or two.
First question, Ben Studders. That's a great name. Studsy, with the debate around having 2 referees, could another option be 2 touch judges, one keeping an eye on the attack and one keeping an eye on the defence? Could stop forward passes being missed? What are your thoughts? Well, we do have 2 touch judges.
That's exactly how it works. Sorry, Ben.
Sorry, Studsy.
That's exactly how it works. You have one.
That's a great idea, like about 150 years ago.
We've got one touch judge on one side, and he watches the attack. Or she, and the other one actually watches the forward passes or the defence line. So
there was a couple of howling forward passes. Ethan Bullimore.
I got done for one I didn't even think was a forward pass.
Yes, I know the one you're talking about. There was one that Olakuatu threw to Bullimore. Mate, he's off the nudie run, but that was... Stevie Wonder could have seen that was forward. Like, it was disgraceful. It was absolutely disgraceful. Oh, look, in terms of how we solve... I think as a game, we've become obsessed with getting the decision right. I reckon we need to give more autonomy to the referee and just accept it as a game. And even when Graham Annesley comes out, he goes, look, this is the lesser of 2 evils, that we've given the referee the autonomy, and they're not going to get it right all the time. Rather than this obsession now of getting every decision right, players staying down after the referee misses a high contact. We don't want to see high contacts go unpunished. But if a referee misses it, we have to live with that. The player then stays down and we wait for the bunker to come in. Look, it's a bit of a farce. And in terms of forward pass, we just need to get that technology, get that technology figured out. But
very grateful for Kolomatangi on the weekend. I absolutely smoked him in the head in a tackle, and he got up. He was getting up slowly, and I was like, "Please don't lay down. Please don't lay down." And he got up. He's played the boys. I'm not about that life, and I was like, "Thank you, my man."
Well done.
Because I thought I reckon I would have got a week A
if he stays.
Yeah, if he stays.
Yeah, good on him. But I reckon, like with forward passes, you just got to get the technology. As long as it can, react straight away. We don't need to waste more time.
Yeah, and it's a hard one to do because, the relative momentum, and it's only if the ball comes out of the hands backwards.
That's the problem, is the ball can actually travel forward.
Yeah. I don't know if people know that.
With momentum, or the momentum rule, sorry. Like if you're driving along and you throw if you've got like some rubbish
peanut
that you
butter
can throw, like say a banana skin or some fruit, and you're aiming for a bin.
You can't throw a banana skin on the road. Mate,
but onto the pavement.
Oh,
or you're aiming for the
danger.
Bin. You're aiming
You've
for
seen
the
how
bin.
people slip on the field.
Yeah, well, make sure you do it with a glove so your DNA is not on the. Anyway, next question. Pete Stubbins, 86. Jimmy, what were the main differences between Super League and NRL, and how did you decide to stay in Oz? Cheese, would you ever consider a move to the Super League? Would you ever go?
Yeah, but only if it was the Catalan Dragons. I ain't living in Hull. Fuck that.
There's some nice parts of Hull.
Yeah, it should be named Shit Hull. It's so bad there.
Some of our listeners are probably from Hull.
Yeah, well, good on them.
You just don't want to live there.
But I'm not going there. We won't be neighbours.
Fair enough. What was it? The main differences. I think the main differences are the press that the NRL get versus the Super League. Obviously, there's a higher standard in the football, but the main difference is all the press. That
the fan base is crazy though. They bloody love it.
They love the songs and all that, but the main difference is media attention and scrutiny.
Wigan Warriors. Did you play for Wigan?
No.
I was gonna say
Saints.
their ground. Their training facilities suck. It's so bad.
Where's that at?
I'm guessing in Wigan, but I've been to Leeds and then I've been to Wigan's, and Leeds is nice.
Headingley.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Leeds or Wigan. I've had my battles with them over the years, but why did I say stay in Australia? Just because I've been here for quite a while. I had some jobs to do. So, yeah.
The weather.
Not the weather.
The weather's good for his tan.
Oh, mate, don't, because I'm already having to put some cream on. It's only just finished winter. Last question. Jim Teague. Apart from the Bunnies and the Cowboys, which team that missed the 8 this year is closest to contending for a title?
Who we got? Dragons, Tigers.
Well, to be honest, probably really the closest would be Parramatta. They made they made the GF last year, so
no, that's the only one.
Yeah, there's a few others. Obviously, I look at the Bulldogs. They're at least a couple of seasons. They're laying the foundations.
Manly have a good team. They were going good at the start of the year.
And look, there's probably a lot of things happening at clubs that we don't know. But from closest to win a premiership, playing a grand final, well, last year Parra did. So yeah. All right, that just about wraps us up. Cheese, all the best this weekend. I'll be there at the game cheering you on.
Will you be cheering me on or commentating?
Well, I'll be commentating, hoping you do well.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.